Hello, this is William Foley. This is Foley Divorce, and uh, I've done this before. It's called Night Shift Office Hours. I'm a divorce lawyer in Florida, and I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight. Tonight's topic is how to save your relationship. So I know that sometimes people will think it's an odd subject for a divorce lawyer to be discussing saving your relationship and saving your marriage. Doesn't have to be marriage, but your relationship. The fact is that in my career, I deal with a lot of relationships and marriages and see what is a common cause for a breakdown in those relationships and a breakdown in those marriages. So, through 15 years of being a divorce lawyer in Florida, I've I have an interesting perspective on divorce in general, but getting back to relationship, because that's why we're here. And the reason why is I decided to do this topic tonight is I made a short video also on my channel, the Fully Divorce channel, the one you're on right now. Thank you for watching. Um, that has definitely been something that I've been surprised at the feedback. Um, you know, obviously in this type of area, in with what I do as a divorce lawyer, there's a lot of people that don't like what I say, don't like what I do, whatever. Um, that doesn't necessarily bother me, but I think the short that I made, How to Save Your Marriage, and again, check it out on the channel. It's somewhere over 100,000 views now. Where it's short and it's basic and it's to the point of, number one is communication is important to in any marriage and any relationship. So communication is key. Um, I don't think that should be a a surprise, but sometimes it does surprise people. Sometimes people think that there's this, overwhelming list of reasons why people get a divorce. And sometimes, again, you see a lot of, hot button issues that do come up. And, with dealing with well over 1,000 cases during my career and talking to thousands and thousands of people. Yeah, I mean, adultery, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, uh, gambling, physical abuse, um, emotional abuse, child abuse, all these different things. Yeah, yeah. I mean, those are reasons absolutely for a divorce, but sometimes the breakdown in the relationship is attributed to a number of different things. One of which is communication. And one of the things that I said in there is men and women communicate differently. I hope that's not a surprise. Men and women communicate differently. It's a fact. Um, and I understand there's biological differences between men and women. And again, we're not here for a biology lesson, but we're here to figure out a way to save your marriage and to be able to communicate with your spouse. Um, and understanding that first topic and that first thing is that are, you and your spouse communicate differently. You and your partner communicate differently. And okay, it's not even just about the biological differences between men and women, but it's the fact that you are different people. You're two different people. Hello, met you, and now we're coming together in this relationship, and your relationship's going to be different than anybody else's relationship. Your relationship's going to be, um, whatever you make it, whatever you make of it. And it may not be perfect. I don't think there is a perfect relationship. It's not. Everybody has their problems. Everybody has their tough times. Everybody has their struggles. Everybody has the difficulties in their relationship. But the important part is remembering why you're there and why you got together with this person. So why, when you met them, what drew you to them, and remembering those things, and remembering some of the good times, obviously, to help you through those bad times. Because in any marriage, in any relationship, there's going to be bad times. There's going to be tough times. There's going to be times that make everybody second guess their relationship. And it's okay to leave a bad marriage. I mean, some marriages they just don't work. Um, I guess, if we're throwing out numbers, 50% or something, marriages don't work. I don't know the exact number, but it's high. It's a high rate, and I don't know. You know, I don't know why, but it's not all relationships work, and not even just marriages. This is a divorce channel. Talk about divorce, um, but some of them just don't work. Some of the marriages um, are bad, and so again, leaving a bad marriage is sometimes going to get you into a situation that maybe you'll get to a better place in your life, and maybe your spouse will be in a better place, and that's hard. Obviously, when there's kids involved, it's never easy. It's never something that where we I never say to a client, this is going to be so easy, this is going to be so simple, this is going to be, and I guess there's a lot of attorneys that do, and maybe they don't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know why you sugarcoat the situation and say that it's going to be a simple, easy process. Divorce is hard. Divorce is emotionally, viscerally, just gut wrenchingly. It's likened to the death, the death of a loved one, of a family member. That same grieving process that you go through. So it's really, really hard. So it's a hard process, but sometimes it can be the only way out of a bad marriage. So, you know, part of being a divorce lawyer is helping people out of bad marriages. But back to the issue of this video is not all marriages need to end. And most of my consultations that I do at some point, even not in the consultation, maybe in the initial, kind of homework that we do and discussions that I have with clients, is I do ask about the reasons for the breakup, and trying to determine what, if anything, could help. If counseling could help, if talking to a therapist, talking to someone, because if your wife left you or your husband left you, you know, individually sometimes, and then, whether or not marriage counseling will help you to be able to repair whatever was broken and to work on it, because marriage is work. it is a lot of work. And if you're not working on it, so, let's say you got a 68 Mustang uh, coupe in the backyard, right? It's sitting there. It's beautiful. No, no, no. It's primer. It's a primered Mustang. It's not even beautiful yet, right? It's gonna need some work. You're gonna have to do a little bit of body work, and there's some rust and some different things you have to work on mechanical. So it's a project that is worked on, that Mustang, to get it to where it needs to go, just like anything, because you want to drive around that Mustang and, be rolling around the town in it, and, have that little antique tag on the back of your car. Uh, a marriage takes work. That's the easiest way to say it is. I'm likening it to fixing up a car, but just like any endeavor that you're going through, it's important to make sure that you understand that um, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be something that is it doesn't always come naturally to some people. We've definitely seen that sometimes, you know, um, the the movie Old School, where he says, it's Frank the Tank, and he's you know gonna be spending the rest of his life with the same person. That part in there. I think I said that in the last office hours. I don't know, but so sometimes that really does surprise people. Just the fact that marriage is when you take the vow till death do us part. um, that's what it is. It's a long-term commitment and contract that you're making with your spouse. So you want to make sure, obviously, before you get into that you're making the right decision, that you're compatible together, that you and your spouse are um, able to work together well, that you complement each other. Not like, oh, you look nice today. You too. I guess that helps. That's part of communication. We're getting back to number one, but you complement each other, and sometimes people will look for people that are like exactly the same as they are, and maybe that works, but usually, and maybe that can be a compliment. But when you're diametrically opposed, and sometimes we kind of liken that to a toxic relationship. And over the years of being a divorce lawyer for 15 years, you're going to see a lot of you know, water. You're not going to see a lot of yeah, you're going to see a lot of water because I talk a lot. um, you're going to see a lot of different things over the course of 15 years as a divorce lawyer. So that's just you're going to see lots of different reasons for people getting a divorce. You're going to see a lot of people that come in, for different reasons, and um, you know, making sure that in the beginning of a relationship, before you're tying the knot, it's important to make sure that you know that person, and um, enough about them to know if it's going to be somebody that compliments you, and has, hello, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Um, it's somebody that is compliments you in a way that you are able to work together and have a relationship that is going to be beneficial for both of you. So um, back to the number one thing for today, and the reason why I wanted to do the live stream was about the fact that communication is something that is um, something that needs to be worked on. And once it's realized there's distinct differences between the way that people talk with each other and communicate in a relationship, I think that starts to build the bridge, of moving closer together. So, some of the other things that I said in the video, obviously, is, I understand this is, a relationship advice, a marriage advice live stream from a divorce lawyer. May sound weird, but I don't know. I guess marriage counselors and divorce lawyers, I mean, we see, we see both sides of it. Marriage counselors see the really tough stuff that couples are going through during their divorce and in an effort to save their relationship. And so do divorce lawyers. Sometimes we see it when it's on the other side. We see it when they've kind of gone over the edge and they've gone over into a situation where the marriage just isn't going to work anymore. So, but I always make sure at the beginning to ensure that this is something that they're ready to do, that they're ready to move on, and that counseling will not work. And sometimes I know my clients have been aggravated with me of like, dude, why am I calling you if you if I was, I'm clearly calling you for a reason. I'm not just like calling you for fun or paying you for a consultation. Like, I know I want a divorce. And sometimes they'll have that feeling, but, and I say, okay, I'm not trying to talk you in or out of anything. I'm just trying to make sure that you understand this is a long, hard road ahead. And you want to make sure that you have hit all the different things that could be something that could save your relationship or save your marriage. Um, and I know a lot of the subscribers on this channel are from all over the world. So obviously, there's going to be different um, laws everywhere. I'm in the United States of America, Florida, Tampa, Florida. So I go by Florida law, and again, all over the world, there's going to be different laws that state how the courts deal with divorce. And in the United States, each of the different states have a different set of laws for that state. So in Florida, and again, that's what this whole channel and live stream primarily focus on, is Florida law, because that's where I have my license, is Florida. There's no requirement for marriage counseling when you get a divorce. You have to prove that the marriage is irretrievably broken, but there's no requirement for it. Now, some states it's a little different, and there are different requirements. There's waiting periods. There's all kinds of different stuff. There's some more kind of focus on wanting to make sure that people have done everything that they can do before they go forward with the process. So, but I generally I get that question a lot. So, do I have to go to marital counseling? Do I have to go to marriage counseling? Do I have to do this? How many times do we need to go? Do we need to see the marriage counselor 6 times? And all of it is basically no. When you go to that final hearing, the court's going to want to know, is the marriage irretrievably broken? And it's a yes or no. And sometimes the courts will say, if I ordered you to marital counseling, would that assist? By the time you've gotten to that final hearing, a lot of times people know that it's not going to help. But before people start the process, I try to at least make sure that they understand that even the worst situations I've seen, um, I've seen things come, resuscitate back to life. Marriages that you thought were, completely unable to ever reconcile. So and that's not all. Again, I'm a divorce lawyer, so it's how I make a living, is, divorce. So obviously a lot of them have gone through, but it's a shocking number of cases and people that I've spoken with over the years that they were able to work through their problems. And so many times it's attributed to, probably not talking to me, but attributed to counseling, marriage counseling, personal counseling, working on yourself, working on different things in your life. Um, I said in the YouTube short that I made, um, you know, I don't remember exactly what I said, but put down put down your put down the girlfriend, put down the bottle, take your wife on a date. I don't know, something like that. But just, it's vices. It's working on those different things. If you know that something that is inhibiting your relationship, whether it's the bottle, the girlfriend, gambling, sometimes work. Sometimes work. I mean, what was it? It's midnight right now, so I work a lot. So I do work. I run a law firm, and I also do this channel. But sometimes people work too much. Um, my wife's asleep right now, so 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 basically, um, that's why I'm up right now. But basically, sometimes work can be the inhibiting factor. It can be the factor that puts people in a situation where they're just not there. They're not there to see their spouse. They're not there to take part in their marriage. They're not there to take part in their children's lives. And that's hard because, you got this counterbalance of wanting to provide for your family, whether you're, female or male, you know, working to provide sustenance and things for living. And then sometimes that starts to, directly butt up against your relationship and your communication and spending time with it. But again, working hard and making sure that you're making a living is different than some people will ensure that they're not home for various reasons. And ensure if there's a work travel trip that they can take, they're going to be the first ones to raise their hand because maybe they're not happy, or maybe they'd like to travel. I mean, I like travel; it's fun, it's great, but um, it's thinking about those priorities and making sure, like, okay, if coming home every night at 10 o'clock is causing an issue in the relationship, and I'm not putting the kids to bed, and I'm not getting to see them, and I'm not getting to see my husband or getting to see my wife, it's reassessing those different things to try to determine what's the best way that you can move forward, to work on your communication. Because one of the things, and I don't know if it's just right now or what, but there's definitely a big uptick in people struggling in their marriages and people struggling in their relationships, and wife is leaving them, husband's leaving them, or they're in fear of that happening. And if you're watching this, again, there's hope. There's you know a million percent hope. I don't know why I said a million percent. There's a lot of hope, but it takes work. And some marriages don't work. Sometimes they don't. Um, but many can work with work, with a continued effort to work on, just starting with the basic premise of communication. And again, in that YouTube short that I made on the channel, I'll try to link it in here, but I referenced the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. and John Gray, PhD. So you can get on Amazon. I'll link it below. Great book, helpful to see. And at first I was like, what is this? And I think it was my wife that was like, you need to read this. So super helpful, super insightful, super, just eye-opening when you see and this was written 30, 40 years ago. I don't know, sold millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies. And there's like 10, 12, 15 different iterations of it, of different types of the book. But the basic premise, the big, one that, and again, I get it. People have issues with some of the things that are said in there and some of the different stereotypes and, all that. But at the end of the day, again, we're all different. We're all different. We all are, just, trying to get through and trying to make our way through life and our relationships and having a little bit of insight, just a little bit of insight into, if you're a man, into the female mind in communication, or, if you're a female, into the male mind. I mean, isn't that helpful? Right? I mean, isn't that like that book should be like in high school, right? Isn't it? Shouldn't that be like the at least maybe your senior year of high school? Like that should be, nothing against calculus. I mean, if you're teaching calculus, wow. I mean, I can't do calculus, but that book, or even if it's not that book, even if we're not going for that, there's a lot of different marriage counseling and marriage therapy books out there that are helpful in the way that you can use them to just help you through your relationship. You can use them with your spouse to work on different things. It can give you topics that you can speak with a marriage counselor about. It'll give you ideas and things that you can work on by yourself, of trying to figure out what are different factors that are triggering for yourself, or where are the arguments stemming from, and then when do the arguments between you and your spouse escalate, and how can they de-escalate. And as a man and a husband, an important one is learning to listen. I mean, that one is just an extraordinarily helpful, instructive piece of advice that we just don't do enough. We don't listen. We don't listen to our spouse. Sometimes if they come home and they're tired or aggravated because of something that happened, sometimes they just want to talk. And especially men, we want to fix it. We want to fix what's wrong. And if you read the book, puts it a little bit better. And I think in the book as well, it's a little bit of a controversial subject sometimes, because it's, for men, we don't want to feel like we're failing. We don't want to feel like we're making mistakes, and that we are, the prototypical asking for directions example. That's a big one. I myself, got there was one of those situations just not too long ago. I'm like driving down the road. I'm like, no, I know exactly where I'm at. I've lived here for my whole life. I know exactly where I'm going. Ah. And my wife's like, uh, you're going the wrong way. You need to pull around, pull over and Google Maps. And, it's just in our heads of like, no, because we feel like it's something innate and inside of us biologically that it's hard for us. We struggle because we feel like a failure, like we failed, um, in life because we couldn't find the way to Arby's. I don't know. It wasn't Arby's, but it's tough when you can't find Arby's. So that communication basis and those are two examples of it. Men coming in and trying to be Mr. Fix-It, and then women sometimes, understanding that men do struggle with it and they don't, they feel like, and that'll be like a common, stop picking at me, stop nitpicking at me. They do, they're not wanting to, feel like, they're lesser than, and I guess there can be a argument of that it's, ego or whatever, whatever it is, but there's certain biological things that are there and they make a lot of sense. So I highly suggest, once again, I suggested it in that 60-second short, and now we're over a half hour on this live stream, but I'm suggesting it again. I think it's a great book to help you in your relationship and to help you get to where you want to go and to try to be able to work on your marriage. I think that's an important part of why you're here. I mean, the title of the live stream is, saving your marriage and working on your marriage and all that. But, um, it is a divorce channel, and I understand that. And there's a lot on here on divorce because that's what I do. That's what I know. But this area of, relationship advice and saving a marriage is, something that, like I said before, I just have an interesting perspective on it. And I've seen the issues that come up, and people will constantly, like as attorneys, we get like, I guess you call them like cocktail party, questions, right? And what are ones that come up a lot? And, one of them definitely is, what's the main reason people are getting divorced? What do you see? And you get that a lot. You get that type of cocktail party type question, but you also get, I mean, you get everything. You get all kinds of stuff. And sometimes you'll, politely say, well, why don't you give me a call, on Monday, and we can talk about this. Having fun right now. And sometimes it's something that you can just kind of rattle off because you've talked about it 100 times, maybe given the advice 1,000 times. Speaking of advice, this is not legal advice. I am a lawyer. I'm a Florida divorce lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. I am not your lawyer. This is not legal advice. So I think that's pretty clear. I'm talking about saving your marriage, even though I'm a divorce lawyer. So if anybody's taking that as legal advice, don't. So back to communication. How can you work on it with your spouse? And, that's something you have to obviously figure out for yourself in your relationship. But understand that it's a key component of, I mean, yeah, there was a period of time when I was seeing like an uptick in divorces of like almost like boredom. I don't know I don't know what it was considered. I don't know if that's a good example, but it was like short-term marriages, like they just had this blowout wedding and then boom, 6 months later, done. Um, you know, 2020, 2021, it's been a little touch and go in areas. So we're seeing less of the boredom type divorces and more of the pretty extreme scenarios, and just kind of normal, growing apart. It's been a lot of different things, obviously, happening over the last couple of years, and it's changed relationships, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. So if it is for the better, sometimes you're trying to obviously help other people strengthen their relationships and their marriages. And there's, you can leave some tips down below in the comments of things that you've done to work on your relationship, and it's been helpful for you. And I think when I ask for people and to put in the comments, and the people that do and give their own personal tips, I think that's really helpful, because again, I'm a divorce lawyer. Okay, probably say that in the comments, like, how many times are you gonna say you're a divorce lawyer? I'm gonna say it 50 times more. I'm a divorce lawyer, I'm a divorce lawyer, I'm a divorce. I won't do that. But I am a divorce lawyer, and I am a divorce lawyer. So anyways, I'm gonna get off of that. I'm going to go to something else that I wanted to talk about, that, obviously, it's not meant to make it like, like a video. Again, this is a hopeful video. This is, again, you can save your marriage. You can. It's possible. It's doable. People do it every day. Somebody's doing it right now. But then there's also a lot of people that are struggling right now, as I speak, all over the world, in their relationship and in their marriage. And I see that, I see people reaching out to channels like mine, searching for an answer and searching for something. I'm not saying that this video is going to be an answer. If it's an answer for, one person, then that's awesome. That's great. One of the benefits of this channel is, obviously you're reaching people and you can help people from a different perspective. As a divorce lawyer in my day job, I run a law firm, and I have a caseload and other attorneys that I manage, and staff and team and all that. But generally I'm working on like one thing at a time. So I have a pretty decent sized caseload, but I'm saying, like, when I'm doing, like, if I'm in a hearing, I'm in a hearing. I'm on that client's case at that time. I am 1000% focused. Like right now, I'm focused on this. This is what I'm doing. I'm talking to you. That's what I'm doing. When I'm in court, I'm working on that client's case, only that client's case. I'm not thinking about somebody else's case, or if I'm on the phone with a client, then I'm talking to that client. I'm not talking to 19 other people, or, on Facebook, doing, a million different things. I try to be singularly focused on the task that I'm doing. And that's just my own personal style. And that's just my own personal preference of trying to be focused on things. It helps me. It helps keep my, brain, kind of going in the direction that I want it to go. And it provides value for my clients. Now, this channel, the difference is I can record it, and then obviously other people can watch it. And the very first video I did 6 years ago, I was actually very surprised when I saw the number of views, because I hadn't really done anything for a while. And I'm coming up to about a year that I've been posting more and more regularly, and it's coming close. So I'm definitely going to do another live stream, for that. And I like these because it's it's an opportunity for me to be able to talk to people, and I welcome people definitely on these live streams. And if you see that I'm on, I know I do it at weird times, you know, and if you're sleeping, hopefully like sugar plum fairies type dreams in your head. What is it? Sugar plum fairy? I don't know. Hopefully you're having good dreams. I don't sleep a lot, so so I sleep enough. I sleep a decent amount, and I try to structure my day in a way that this is something I like to do. I like this YouTube channel. I like to talk to people. I like to help. I like to, give of my time to do this. And I feel like it can go out to more people than just me talking to one person at a time and saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. That's generally why, the first video I made 6 years ago, and when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, this is, a lot of people are looking for this, and a lot of people this has helped. And, so that's when I started, about a little less than a year ago, making more videos, because I said, I can say something once and then it can reach, more people. And it's been definitely helpful for my clients and people that want to retain me as counsel, and they've watched my videos, and then just especially some of my more generalized videos that aren't as law specific, maybe talking about celebrity divorces, things like that, can reach people all over the world. So it's been a really great experience in doing this, and this channel is really been very awesome. And thank you for watching. I'm not done yet. I'm just thanking you. And if you want to subscribe, if you're not subscribed, hit the little subscribe button and comment with any tips that you have, since it is a live stream primarily dealing with saving your marriage. I know I've kind of gone a little bit all over the place, but I'm very good at that. So the goal of the video is working on your marriage and, saving your marriage. And this last couple years have been tough. This is a new reality that we're in. This is a new world that we're living in. And a lot of people are more in like a fight or flight mode right now. Or then really they were more last year. I guess that was a pinnacle time for fight or flight, kind of, and then there was some calm, and then I mean, I live in Florida, so the Florida man and Florida woman, it's a real thing. So Florida is an interesting place. I love Florida. I'm so glad I live here, but it's such an interesting state. And if you want me to do some videos on Florida in general, I understand why people have an interest in it, because it's just every day you're like, where are they from? Where are they from? They're from Florida? Yeah, they're from Florida. And they're from Florida. So there was a calm period in, getting more back to reality. And, then in the divorce world, we saw kind of an uptick on certain things, and definitely an uptick on vacations. I mean, if that's one thing that, especially over this last summertime, everybody wanted to take a vacation. It was hot girl summer, right? So they want to get out there, and hot girl, hot boy summer. They want to get out there and do their thing. But that sense of calm after fight or flight, and after that type of like, whoa, once in a lifetime type of thing that comes along, like what did, and it changes people, and it changes who they are, how they think, how they deal with things. Sometimes more anxiety, less anxiety, depression can be exacerbated, and then the vices, then we get back to those. Huge uptick in substance abuse, and it just got worse for a lot of people. Some people got better, and they realized it was a problem, and so there's been some, definitely some silver lining, but there's also been a massive, massive increase, in people having some significant issues with substance abuse. So um, that also plays into, reasons for divorce. I mean, if you're looking at those kind of top five, I mean that it's substance abuse is up there, is way up there, because it just plays into so many facets of your life, and it goes to so many different areas that just make it really hard. Getting back to, again, the fight or flight, and then the kind of calm, and did it strengthen your marriage? During the fight, was the fight within your own marriage? Is it now over? Again, sometimes people can't come back from these things, but others, it's still there. Um, they're able to come back from it. Let me just make sure on my computer that it's not gonna like explode, because that wouldn't be good. It's starting to make some, hey, you're over 45 minutes. What are you doing? Stop that. I feel like a baby sipping from his baba. If you don't have kids, you probably thought I was an idiot for saying that. You probably thought I was an idiot for saying that no matter what, whether you have kids or not, but I said it. Anchor. So the yeah, some of the comments, and some of the comments, of course, with a lot of my videos, I can't read. um, uh, YouTube may not like the content of some of the comments. So I'm just gonna, let me get to it. Click, clickety click. Find the right video. All right, 150,000 views. Cool. So, and like I said, it's I asked for tips in that one. Any tips I missed? And one of the comments was, if you don't get married, you can't get divorced. And my response was, these tips and many more brought up by the commenters below aren't exclusive to just marriages. They're for all relationships, and many of the same issues are still present with unmarried couples. So, yeah, I mean, if you don't get married, you're not going to get divorced. That's kind of right. But I'm talking about, okay, staying married, and that's the name of the video. It's on the little thumbnail, but this also goes for relationships. Communication in relationships and working on yourself as a human being is pretty applies to not just marriages, it applies to relationships as well. It's important, obviously, to understand that it doesn't just mean that because you're not married, you're not going to have issues in a relationship, because that's just, I mean, unless you're just not going to get in a relationship, and that's your choice. And it's 1,000% your choice. And so I definitely got a lot of comments. Don't get married. Um, and I haven't even seen some of these. These are relatively newer. So don't get married. Again, and it's a successive, like, there's a few of them, don't get married. If you're going to have, I mean, I'm a guy and I like girls. Okay. I've always liked girls. And if you're a girl and you like girls, or you're a guy and you like guys, whatever, that's up to you. But if you like the same gender or the other gender, anybody besides yourself, okay, you if you're going to be with them for more than like 9 seconds of just saying hello, my name is Bob, you should probably know how to communicate with the opposite gender or the same gender. That helps. That helps to be able to communicate. So just because you're not married doesn't necessarily mean that relationship advice, it could be helpful. It could be helpful to know how to communicate with, again, the opposite gender or the same gender. So I'm going to go to some other comments on here. Again, tips to not get a divorce, never get married. Again, marriage is tough, and I definitely get a lot of these comments of, that if you don't get married, then you won't get a divorce, but I think it's kind of missing the point. And the point is that the video that I made, it's now, again, over 150,000 views, is saying, if you're already married, here's some help and some tips on how to stay married. Not necessarily, trying to say, oh, whether you should get married or not. And I mean, again, it's up to you. But if you want to find a person in this, crazy world that you want to spend some time with more than like 4 seconds at a Walmart saying hello, you have to know how to communicate. You have to know how to connect with that person. So that's why these comments that come up over and over, just don't get married, just don't get married, don't get married, one of the comments was from another divorce attorney, and he said, here's my frequent advice: treat your marriage like it's 60-40. You do 60% of the work and only expect 40% effort from your spouse. If both of you follow the 60-40 rule, there will always be overlap and less room for disappointment. So that was from Matthew Harris Law, another divorce lawyer. I think, Mr. Harris, you're over in, Attorney Harris, you are in Texas, I believe. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. And then somebody replied to it, why on earth would any man advise another man to ever get married? Y'all are part of the problem in this, can't repeat it for the video, society. All right, so yeah, Matthew Harris is a dude and I'm a dude. Okay, so we're guys, and we're, why would we advise men to ever get married? Again, I don't know how to answer that question, because I like women. like my wife, married. Like I can't imagine a life without, having somebody in some connection, whether I liked men to begin with, or whether you want to connect with somebody at some point in your life. To me, that's a really that's a hard thing to reconcile with, is like, well, just don't get married, don't get in a relationship. Because again, these comments are presupposing that it's just, divorce and relationship problems only happen in divorce. It's not just in divorce. It's in relationships too. People have communication issues in normal, regular relationships where you don't get married. That's completely normal. So to say, I mean, and again, in this horrible world, best way not to get married, you know, and there's been some very nice comments on here. Um, and I will say, but I'm kind of locked on this one, you know, this line of it, because I just, you know, there's definitely a lot of them on there, and that's fine. I mean, that's what I've said on these other videos. Like, you guys are free to your opinion. You know, this is your opinion. I'm not telling you, you know, what to say. You're free to your opinion. I'm free to my opinion. In my opinion, you know, when I'm asked, why would you ever tell another man to get, why on earth would any man advise any other man to ever get married? I don't know. My marriage has been tough. It's not been easy, but it's been awesome. And we have two amazing children out of it. So, I don't know. I like my marriage. I like my relationship. It's hard. Sure, my wife thinks I'm absolutely nuts sometimes. Um, but you know, you find somebody to compliment you in the, you know, kind of, you know, Jerry Maguire completes you. You complete me. You know, that's what you want. Maybe not. I don't know. But so again, missing the point of the, if you don't get married, then you don't have to deal with these issues. You still have to deal with the issues because you're probably going to be in a relationship at some point, right? It's some, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. So instead of just saying, well, just don't get married, don't get in a relationship, you know, that's going to solve everything. No, that's not going to solve everything. I mean, what, I don't know. I don't get it. Do I know enough about why there's that feeling? No. And I'll look into it more, and I'm sure I'll get a ton of comments about it on this video, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm just trying to give my side of being a divorce lawyer and seeing communication issues and seeing the different things that come up, and not saying whether or not somebody should get married or not. I mean, by the time they've gotten to me, and I do a lot of paternity stuff too. So I mean, it's like, you know, it's unmarried couples, you know, time sharing. Like, I, so not all my cases, like, you know, 100% of it is just divorce, but a vast majority is divorce. But in those cases with unmarried couples, um, they had some relationship problems as well, and that's why they had to come to me, because then they had a child. So I mean, I guess the next point is, oh well, don't have kids with your, you know, your significant other. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like my kids, and I think a lot of the other 7 billion people in the world, you know, were here because somebody decided to have a child. I don't know how many people in the world right now. If I got that number wrong, feel free, let me know. Put it below. How many billions of people are in the world right now? Yeah. So I'm sure there's got to be a lot. Like 10,000 people in the world. So so this comment, um, this is like how to stay sober tips from a drug dealer. Um, you know, and when I replied to that, I said, I'm tired, but I thought I responded. Now I'm tired again. Now, you know, it's because it's like, you know, middle of the night here in Florida. But I said, I'm not sure if the analogy works here. It's creative. I'll give you that. But I'm selling legal advice to divorce lawyers. So when I'm a divorce lawyer, I'm a legal, you know, I'm selling to my clients legal advice, right? But this is free tips. for this video and this one too on how to not use somebody like me. And I said I'll sleep on it and maybe I'll have something better tomorrow. I still don't have anything better. And thank you to the commenter RK who said good one. Thank you. It was a good one. But no, I mean, I get it. It's like, sure, what? You're a divorce lawyer. It's ridiculous. Trying to give advice, marriage, relationships. Why not? Why can't I? I mean, why can I not say what I feel in my being of what I've seen? I have an interesting perspective. Let's just put it that way. I won't say I've been a divorce lawyer for 15 years. Okay. I won't say that again. I'll probably say it again, but I'll try not to say it again. Should be required the man get legal advice from attorney before he gets married. Best advice would be, this is a comment from Alpha Male. Should be required that a man get legal advice from an attorney before he gets married. The best advice would be not to enter an open-ended, unexpressed contract with a woman in the government. Getting advice from an attorney before getting married. Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense to, I mean, and I'm not being at all sarcastic on that. I do a lot of prenups, so I suggest for people to get prenups if they can. I don't think this was where that comment was going. I think it was just kind of understanding of like, where they're, maybe what everybody's getting themselves into prior to marriage. I mean, in Florida, you got to take like a marriage class or something, I think. Maybe it's a parenting class. Man, it's almost like 1 o'clock over here. So I don't know if you got to take a marriage class anymore. I got married a long time ago, so I don't know if you got to do anything. I have no idea. Should should you have to take some type of? I have no idea. I'm not even gonna say it depends because I really just don't even know. So I think you got to take something, or you did at some point, or it would be a good idea to take it. Let's just put it that way. But just knowing, to get your marriage certificate and to get your marriage license and all that, of, some of the different laws that are out there. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Some people do get into marriages not really understanding it's a contract, it's complex, the laws are sometimes complicated and usually interpreted by attorneys. So the normal everyday person getting married is not like, just sitting there reading through statute books of divorce law before they're tying the knot. I get it. So getting legal advice from an attorney before he gets married, I don't know. I mean, I guess there could be like a course on that. I think it's maybe a good idea to, talk to people about, and if that's where the comment's going, of being able to explain some of the things for and not just for man and woman, for both people to understand really the different sides of it. So depending on where you're at when watching this, Florida, United States, world, whatever, depending on where you are, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I mean, I think you can look into that as well. And a lot of people look into like videographers and, table linens, the little chair sashes. Do they do those anymore? I don't know. I just remember going like, it's got to match the table linen, and there's like a centerpiece and all that and they'll spend like months doing that, like 16 months on linens. for one night. So is it a good idea to, and again, I'm sorry to all the linen manufacturers, in Tampa, we had an excellent linen, I actually know the name, I'm not going to say the name, but excellent linen place that did, for our wedding, top notch. Was it like a coral color? I don't know. But the linens, they'll spend all the time on the linens. And whether they're going to have the, what the song list is. I remember spending so much time on the set list for the wedding, and like what song is going to be played during cocktail hour, and then when is this, and my wife and I both like techno music and all kinds of Miami bass music and things, and we're like, when is the Miami bass, and when are they going to play like Gasolina, and when are they going to, when are we going to play like Sandstorm, like 90s techno. That was important. That was a really important thing for us to do, and to spend all that time on that set list and going through that. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody does it. They spend a lot of time on all these other things, getting ready for their wedding and starting their life together. Would possibly the idea of talking to somebody or going through a course or learning more. I mean, again, you can like Google it, I guess. You can do a consultation with an attorney, I guess. I've never had somebody say, I'm about to get married, I need to know the exact repercussions, but I'm not looking for a prenup. Usually if they're calling for that context, it's like, I want a prenup, or I want to know how much prenup costs, or I want to know if I need a prenup. But usually not just for specifically, I want to know the exact laws in Florida on these different types of things. That's something that hasn't been. I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I think obviously it would be state specific, and it would be kind of a little cottage industry, because it's not something that's necessarily, pushed a lot. Your cameraman and your cake, and I haven't even been to a wedding in a while. Again, it could be because of the function of the last couple of years. There's been less weddings, or maybe people just don't like inviting me to their weddings anymore. I guess that's a byproduct of being a divorce lawyer. You get invited to less weddings. I don't know. Whatever. This is a good one. Chris said on the video, and this is again the tips to stay married from a divorce lawyer. I'll link it below. Listen, hear, and listen again. So listen. So listen. So we started with that before communication. Listen, hear, hear, and listen again with a desire to understand the other's heart. Very profound. Way more profound than anything I said in there. So I do like that, because that puts a different layer to it about them. It was odd. My connection was unstable. Let me just check on this. I got the ether webs. I'm not sure why my connection was unstable, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm going. Never stop doing simple kindness for one another as you would for any guest who would come to your home. Yeah, that's awesome. Never stop doing simple kindness for one another as you would for any guest who would come to your home. I mean, again, profound. So thank you, Chris. That was super dope. Um, because we do all this like really cool stuff for other people and people like we've never met or that we've met once or like we haven't seen since like high school, and we're like super nice and like super like accommodating. But then for our spouse, we're just kind of like, bah. You know, my wife showed me, was it the Holderness family? They make those great YouTube videos, and it started with like I don't know if it started. You know, they always say started. They might have been making stuff before then, but like the Christmas video, and they've done all these really great videos. But they did one, and the wife, she did how she treats her, you know, how she communicates with her dog versus how she communicates with her husband. That video is hilarious. I would highly recommend that video. It's really funny, and it's just funny. So, but it's just kind of another example of like sometimes you don't like be so kind to your dog. Like, oh, little Snuffles, oh, you're such a good little puppy, and you're so wonderful. And then your spouse is like, yeah, what are you doing? Stay away from me. You know, so it's true. You know, you get familiar with your spouse. You get, it becomes kind of old hat. How many other antiquated, you know, ridiculous sayings can I say? Uh, it it's important to remember, you know, that you know these little, yeah, those little special acts of kindness can go a long way, and it can mean a lot to your spouse. At the end of a long day, at the beginning of a hard day, you know, whatever. Um, it is those little things. I think that's important because you'll do these amazing things for a guest that's staying there for like, you know, 2 hours, and maybe it's because they're there for 2 hours, and you're, you know, till death do us part. So you're kind of like, I mean, we're together forever, so uh, yeah, I'm not gonna turn on that coffee pot. I'm not gonna do it. Um, yeah, make coffee in the morning. You know, just try to do that. Just a little pro tip there. Just little things, little tiny things. Like I'm personally not a big gift giver. And if my family is watching this, which they're not, like my family just doesn't watch my stuff, but that's fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm serious. It's fine. It's not fine. So I'm not a great gift giver. And I think there's a difference. And again, I don't know if this is, I'll look into this. I'll ask my wife. I'll go wake her up right now. She'll love that. Hey, do you think that would not go over well? I won't do it. I will get some water though. So gifting is a lot of times, you know, it's, I guess, the thought that counts. You know, there's all those different sayings, but a lot of times it is for the person that is giving the gift. And you know, that was something I failed to realize. And then also for the person that's receiving, just that, you know, it's to show that the other person cares and is thinking about them and is maybe remembered, like, you know, when they said something at Nordstrom's or something, 6 months ago. Oh yeah, blah, blah. Shout out to Nordstrom's. If you want to sponsor my video, I need a new suit. So, um, so the fact is that there's different reasons for why somebody wants to give a gift, and why there's important. For me, I'm just more practical with gifts, and that has caused me significant issues through the years. And I definitely got that from my own father. Like, it was like, dustbuster, that's a that's a good gift, and it was a good gift. And I mean, a dustbuster, if you've never seen a dustbuster, because they don't make dustbusters as much anymore. It's just not as normal, like Swiffer type things. But anyways, my dad was a very practical gift giver, and so definitely it was something that was also I just saw more of a practical nature in it. So I'm sure my various parts of my family over the years have been kind of not ecstatic about my gift giving abilities. But giving gifts and thinking through, with kindness, is important. And thinking of the other person, and then if the other person is getting you a gift, and thinking from it. So that's been one thing that, for me personally, I'm just saying personally, has been helpful for me to kind of, another thing to work on. I mean, you got to be working on this stuff. Like, you gotta work on yourself. The person that you were, the person that I was 20 years ago, I'm not that same person. I'm a different person, and that's fine. The person I was a year ago, I'm a different person. So I mean, it's you change, and that's also in relationships. The person that you married 20 years ago, you guys have been through so much. You've been through so much over the last 20 years, or 10 years, or 5 years, or a year, or 6 months, 2 days. I mean, you've been on a honeymoon, right? Are the cruise ships out right now? I don't even know. I don't know, but we did a cruise ship for our honeymoon. It was great, wonderful, almost drowned, but not the cruise ship's fault. I am not saying it was the cruise ship's fault. Disclaimer: if you want to sponsor my video, cruise ships, go for it. Love to go on a cruise. I will do a walkthrough video of all cruise ships. I like cruise ships. They're very, insular, and you got so many different activities, different things to do, and just so much going on. It's so nice, and it's all there. It's all planned out for you. Cruises are excellent. Again, not a sponsored video, clearly, but I do like cruises. All right. So kindness, cruises, gifts. Somebody said all common sense stuff. Yeah, agree, Virginia. It is common sense stuff. I'm not saying that like I didn't. I'm not like Tom Hanks in Castaway. Like, I made fire. Like, I've made fire. Like bad Tom Hanks impression. I apologize, Tom Hanks. I am sorry. You're excellent in Forrest Gump. Castaway, great movie. I mean, how do you carry for 3 hours, a dude on an island? Well, I'm going on an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm definitely not carrying it. But 3 hour big blockbuster movie, just him for like uninterrupted. So kudos to Tom. So yes, common sense stuff. I agree with that. It's just sometimes the little things and the things that do seem to be common sense and that do seem to be not necessarily something that you would expect to be the problem in your relationship or in your marriage. Um, sometimes can be staring you right in the face, and just with some little tips and little pieces of advice, something may click, and and you kind of get that little aha moment. Um, if this video did that, it's great, and I'm happy to be of service. If it didn't, um, I'll make another one. I'll do better. Yeah, when anybody says my video quality is, subpar, you're not, it's just as good. Or they did the other day. You're not as funny as not as fun or funny as Legal Eagle. By the way, Legal Eagle, great channel, amazing attorney Stone. Great, entertaining, insightful, wonderful stuff. And there's a lot of other really good attorney channels around, and I think it's just kind of cool. There's a lot of interesting legal perspectives on a lot of different areas, and definitely something that I've been kind of looking at a little bit more is the other lawyer YouTube channels that are out there, and there's a lot of really good ones. So yes, um, I'm not as fun as Legal Eagle. I'm sorry, but I will get better, and that's what I was saying. I will get better. It takes time. So work with me. I am a lowercase g at this point, not an uppercase G. I am still working on it. Got to grow. Got to hone the YouTube craft, and will I someday be as fun as Legal Eagle? I don't know. Attorney Stone, only you can determine that. I know you're not going to watch this, but talking to you. Just a simple question. Are you married? I said, yes. Married 14 years, working a relationship every day. It's about the work you put in. Yeah. Yeah, I'm married. I guess sometimes that's a question that people will ask, like, we've gone through divorce, and that's definitely a selling point, I would say, for some attorneys that have gone through divorce, and they're like, well, I've gone through divorce. And I get it. They've seen it from that side. I've seen enough destruction in 15 years of practice that I don't really need to go through it myself to be able to understand the depths of what people go through during a divorce and while they're going through this process and when they're getting to the other side. So, yes, working on your relationship every day. Is it every minute of every day? No. People need to find things that they have to kind of segment their lives into, time for themselves, if they have children, and that's friends and family and work, and but you gotta have a big part of it there. You gotta have that slice of the pie. If you got a pie chart, boop, boop, boop. This is a live stream, so I can't do a cool little thing up there. But let's just right here. There's a little pie chart, right? And you got a little pizza. That pizza should be, your spouse or your significant other, your partner. You know, the time that you spend with them, the time that you spend on your relationship. Maybe you're working on your relationship when you're not with them. Again, reading the book that I keep talking about. Maybe read another book. I don't know. But if it's escaping into, you know, something to just kind of run away from the problem, that's not going to solve it. Escape is such an amazing, you know, kind of medicinal thing that's just, you know, it's always been there. Escape in many forms, but you know, people have gone through a lot over the last couple of years, and sometimes they just want to escape reality, and they don't want to be, you know, completely like there. And they want to live in, you know, outside of reality. But reality and the life we live in is, it's hard, but it's important to make sure that we are, you know, continuing to put in, you know, obviously the work, you know, day in and day out. And by escaping in so many different forms. And again, escape can sometimes be something that's beneficial for you, you know, working on yourself. Sometimes, and again, like sometimes you just got to decompress in different ways that are healthy and not toxic and, you know, problematic. But that's part of that pie chart, that little magical pie chart that's up here. That's that you can't see, but it's up. It's up here. It's pie chart. So that part of the pie chart of like doing cool stuff, that's important, you know. And if you can like get a 2-for-1 and do it with your spouse, do some cool stuff with your spouse, um, and your kids. Whoa, now you got family time, kids, you know. But it is important to segment those times, and that's why I said at the end of the video, take your spouse on a date. And that's both ways. I'm not saying like just, you know, guys, you know, guys have to do it. You know, women too. You know, take your wife on a date, take your husband on a date, whatever. You know, it works both ways. Everybody's able to say to their spouse, to their mate, you know, let's go on a date, mate. Don't do it that way. That was that was horrible. Sorry. So don't say don't let's go on a date, mate. Say, you know, I'd like to take you on a date. Okay, don't do that one either. I don't know. You know what to do. Like, you don't need my advice on that. Just go on a date. Plan something. Dancing. I mean, dinner's easy, you know, but dinner can get kind of like, you know, same thing. It's nice to do some different things, and because that takes creativity. Like you're doing like, you know, same dinner and same spot, you know, all that. It's just commonplace. It's root. It's same. You know, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. You know, experience. And I think that's why so many times, so many couples like going on a vacation. It can be like a reinvigorating thing for them. And sometimes they like, you know, go on it and they could be in a really bad place before that. And then, you know, it can help them, especially if they're able to go on it alone, you know, do something as a couple and come back. And it's, you know, a lot of times they'll be stronger when they get back. I've also made another video saying, you know, just don't think that a vacation will solve all of your problems. So I know that seems like kind of counterintuitive, like, okay, making one video saying don't, but that's, you know, it's like sometimes, again, I love Disney. I've been going to Disney since as a kid, they want to sponsor my video, cool. They're not going to, I'm sure, but whatevs. I love going to Disney, and again, growing up in Central Florida, it's just something that you just do, and then everybody else all over. I worked for Disney for a little while, and like I just saw how much, like, oh my God, people just all over the world just love Disney, and they planned trips for like years, and it was just whoa, like wow, whoa, Disney, happiest place on earth. Sometimes 95 degrees, 3-hour lines, and $6 ice cream cones. But there are a lot of amazing parts of it and some amazing memories I've had there. So I get it why it's such an important, place for so many people. And it is that getaway. It is that kind of that escape and the vacation, that if it's done in a healthy way, in a way of like, this isn't going to fix our marriage, or we're going to come back and everything's just going to be cool. No, because I mean, the reality is a lot of times, and that's what I was saying from the other videos, a lot of times you go on that vacation and if you're not doing any work on it, if you're going on a vacation or you're going on a trip with your spouse to work on your vacation, or to work on your vacation, to work on your marriage, then whoa, you're in a place where now you may come back and there may be a difference. Because you put in some hard work when you were, you know, jet skiing in Ibiza. Did I pronounce it wrong? Sorry. Um, Jet skiing in Cancun, cliff diving, going on a cruise. Sponsor it. I don't know what type of video I would do for why would a cruise channel want to sponsor a video? I don't know. I'll find a reason. I mean, because I'm in Tampa Bay. It's where I'm based out of, and it's a pretty big port city, and a lot of cruise lines, a lot of cruise ships come in and out of Tampa, and so we've won a lot of cruises out of Tampa. Not in the last couple of years, but prior to that, a lot of them very frequently, and um, there's a lot of fun things to do on cruises that you can kind of, again, with your spouse, with your mate, um, reinvigorate your relationship and work on it. But when it's to just forget about reality and not work on it, again, like I said, and like I said in the video before, that's why I'm trying to stay consistent with that message, that a vacation isn't just going to solve it all, absent the work on the relationship, absent trying to work through and many times talk through some of these different difficult issues and try to find ways to better communicate and deal with the underlying issues that are there. Because sometimes you realize at some point that there's no coming back from it. And sometimes when it's done as a joint decision, sometimes that can be a little bit more palatable than when it's just one person. But many states it is only necessary that one person makes that decision. But some marriages are not made to last, and some of them need no. I'm fighting with myself. No, all of them need work. All marriages need work. And anybody that's watching this can work on their communication. they can work on these different things for their marriage. And the next comment that I'm seeing over here, how to stay married from Rana. Have reasonable expectations and be intimate more. So have reasonable expectations and be intimate more. And then I said, no one is perfect. If the expectation is perfection, everybody's going to be let down, yada, yada, yada. Intimacy can fade dramatically after the honeymoon period wears off, especially if children get put in the picture. So making sure to remember intimacy and connection is an amazing tip. So this isn't a video on, your sex life or intimacy or, anything like that, but it's important to think about. But I'm sure there's many other videos that are going to be better suited if that's, what you're looking for. But this video probably is more for the first portion of that, of reasonable expectations. Managing expectations is something as a divorce lawyer that you're constantly like working on. You want to make sure like everybody, you can meet expectations and that you're not like over promising and under delivering. That I think that is not just with what I do. Obviously, it's with many different occupations and many different lines of work and marriages too. Having reasonable expectations. I just, if you go in thinking it's going to be perfect and that you're never going to get a fight, like it's like the the newlyweds, they're like, we've never fought. It's been so great. We love each other so much, and we're never gonna fight. We're gonna love each other forever. I mean, I don't know. I was with my wife for a while before we got married, so we got to know a lot about each other. Had lots of arguments. Knew enough that we knew enough about each other, and we both realized obviously we're not perfect, and just being realistic about our own, again, limitations. I think is important because nobody's perfect. So again, not a news flash, not something that if you're searching for Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, I don't know, maybe you'll find them. Maybe they're in Ibiza, right? Maybe they're there on a jet ski. Or maybe they're not. I guess I'm sure there's like some saying like perfect for you, or whatever. But if you're looking for the perfect individual, it's going to be a long search. We are imperfect beings. That's what makes us interesting. If we were perfect, we'd be pretty boring. Like, we'd be like super boring. Like even these like robots now that are like, they're trying to like teach to do things, like they're more interesting when they're like making ridiculous mistakes and just screwing up. I don't know why I'm going into AI, but yeah, no, I mean, check out these robots that are just doing ridiculous things because it's almost like being human. You just make mistakes, and that's human. To err is human. Yeah. So passion, yeah. Hard work every day. So hard work. Mona Brown. So many cynical, negative people have commented on your video. Everything you said makes perfect sense. You obviously have enough compassion for people that you don't want them to go through the destruction of divorce. And the worst part of divorce are the kids dealing with the torn apart family. So people should listen to some sound wisdom like yours. Thank you. And I responded, "Thank you. Divorce sucks. Lots of pain, lots of grief, but sometimes it's necessary. Been accustomed to dealing with negativity towards me personally, and towards my profession throughout my career. People need help going through divorce, and everyone needs help in their relationships. No one's perfect. Thank you again." So Mona. Um, yeah, a lot of negativity, but I mean, again, this is divorce, and this is a channel a lot about divorce because it's not all about divorce, but a lot of it. There's some taking care of yourself and self care, and then some of the celebrity stuff, and there's a little bit more of the fluffy stuff, but um, there's yeah, a lot of it is about divorce. So it's what it is. I'm a divorce lawyer, so it's what I know. It's what I do. So yeah. So the part of it I think was big was the worst part of the divorce, the kids dealing with their torn apart family. Yeah, that's tough. And thank you, Mona, for that. Sound wisdom, sometimes. But what the children have to deal with in these situations does change them forever. And I think many, many, many of my clients have done a really wonderful job with being able to understand the long lasting impact of divorce on their children and trying to put them first and not put them in the middle. It is human nature, though, to just be reactionary at times. And sometimes people say and do some things that obviously they wish that they could take back. So kids see some really tough things when when their parents are going through a divorce, and it's hard, And I just really, especially while people are still on the fence about it, that's something to think about, um, because it's going to be tough. It's not anybody that's saying divorce is going to be easy and it's going to be simple. It's not. There's some. Yeah, you've got no kids, no property, nothing. Been married for 6 months. Okay, I've seen some 6 month marriages be knocked down, drag out. Fought over for a long time. Like anything has the ability to just be emotional, be painful and visceral and hard. It's not the length of the marriage. It's not if you got $1 million or $100 million or $10. There's an old adage, and divorce can fight over a spoon. I think I've actually had a divorce once where they were fighting over like old china, like an old silverware, like a spoon. So it's any of these cases in anybody's situation um, can be really tough. So understanding when you have children put into that picture, it just kind of makes it that much more important to make sure that you've thought through it. This wasn't like, well, I'm bored today, maybe I should get a divorce. I don't think I've ever had anybody that's come in and said that. Like, I haven't thought about this at all. I'm just here and you're here, so let's just do it. That doesn't happen. It's usually a, a long process to get to me. Sometimes I'm a test case of like, they want to bounce it off of somebody. Maybe they've never talked to anybody about it. Maybe never talked to a family member about it. Never talked to their closest friends. And, it's, um, it's something that I feel special. I don't know if that's the right word, special. But I feel, that the fact they reached out to me and they put their trust in me, I do feel special for that. So thank you for that. But the fact is that everybody has a different, kind of cycle of, when they're going through that process. So sometimes it takes longer, and sometimes it can take a very long time until they're ready to do it. And sometimes, again, coming to me, they realize, I don't like that guy, or or I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to do this process. And they don't. And they maybe go home and work on it. So, and next one, think before you get married. Yeah. You try living with my ex. Interesting. Interesting. I don't know. It keeps going. So I'm going to wrap it up. There's a bunch more, but we're almost hitting a little bit over the hour 45 mark. So I think it's been a good talk, and I hope if you are here in YouTube land that you have gotten something out of it. If you have, again, we go back to communication. Just it's sincerely, I'm again, this has been my life's work of being a divorce lawyer, and that's the number one thing to work on. And just literally just take a day and just step outside of yourself and look at your own communication throughout the day with your spouse. Is it healthy? Is it toxic? Are there other ways that it can be, that can be better, healthier? Can you listen better? And can you listen more? And can you listen more actively and with kindness? So I hope you received something out of this. I appreciate you listening up to this point, and hang in there. Thank you.